Yes lads, welcome back to the Regular Strength channel, the channel where you watch me try and get a little bit stronger over a period of several months. Something interesting might happen at some point, but for the most part it's pretty steady, and that's what training is. I'm doing a bench deload day today. I'm thinking 110, 115, something like that for a single, a few back offsets, some pause deadlifts, and then some spoto press to finish. Should be nice and quick, which is good because I want to go bother the dog. I'm going to do 60 kilo to warm up. Nice and steady. I've had a really long week at work this week, moving stores, moving a million e-bikes. My watch says I've walked 6-7 miles a day, over 20,000 steps, carrying bleeding e-bikes up and down stairs, done 50 flights of stairs every day. And it's really been quite draining. So I wanted to do this session so that I've done it. But I don't want to do this session because I want to lay down and cry quietly into a pillow. But 8 kilo, 5 reps. Do 100 for a few after. Oh, yeah. We'll get 100 on, maybe we do 110, something like that. It's frustrating because obviously the good part of these videos, if you watch a few people, I like to watch obviously you've got your high-end people with loads of subscribers. I follow a few people that are doing this that don't have quite as many. And you want to hear about what they're talking about. But I ain't got out to say today because my brain's not really working. I'm just going to do the session, get through it. Maybe I'll have something to say next week after I've slept. Feeling kind of weird, but whatever. I'll stick 112. How about that? That's in the middle. Okay, this is going to be our top single for the day. Hopefully it's easy. It's meant to be an RPE 7. I think 112 should be about that. If we do 112 this week, 117.5 the week after, then 122.5, that's a 2.5 kilo PR. And then the following week, we'll try the 125. If we get that, 127 or 130 or something, that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, for right now, 112. Let's up it goes there. Yeah, easy. We've got a few back offsets now. I think it's 95 kilo for a few sets of 2, something like that. Yeah, so for this for this last 4 weeks of the training plan, the volume's pretty low, but the intensity is much higher. So, well, the weight's much higher. The intensity shouldn't be mental, it's just heavy, but there's not lots of it, so we should be able to get stronger without generating loads of fatigue, and then theoretically come the end of it we hit some PRs, which would be good. I'm not feeling super confident in the squat. I've got a bit of pain in my knee, but we'll give it a go. Maybe we can get something, maybe we can get a PR equal or whatever. Feeling pretty confident with a deadlift, that should be good. Bench press, yeah, I think we can stick 5 kilo on there or something. And yeah, happy days. Then we'll start my full plan from the start, 12 weeks of training. Big volume phase for 4 weeks, adding sets. Going to get massive legs, see how that goes. But yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to finally trying a 200 kilo deadlift with an actual chance of pulling it. I've loaded it before and tried to pull it. It was rooted to the ground. I had no business trying it really. I thought the difference between 180 and 200 wasn't a lot, but here we are 2 and a bit years later and we're still only just pulling 180. So yeah, the 200 should be okay. That'd be a big milestone. I said that a million times, but whatever. Let's do 2 reps here. Seems kind of mad that 95 kilos is 80% of my 1 rep max, because in my head that's nearly 100 and 100's heavy. But I guess if we're pressing 120 then it's not, but it is. It's really heavy. I weigh this much. I'm 6'2" and 95 kilos, so pressing my body weight for 2 reps as a back offset, pretty cool. Okay, I'm not going to have heaps of rest today because it's the deload week. These weights are pretty easy, and like I say, I want to get it done so I can go relax, get the recovery in, because that's what's going to make me stronger. Sitting down on my ass. One more of those, some pause deadlifts. I think the deadlifts are at like 120, 122, something like that. Not mental this week. So I'm thinking with the deadlift next week, we go 192, 2.5 kilo PR, following week 200. Then if that goes, the week after we'll try a 205. If we get 205, that'd be cool. That's about what we got predicted from the 180 for 5. So that'd be nice. And then that'd be a good place to start again. Maybe we can get 210, 215 out of it the next time round. Maybe 220 by the end of the year. And I think that is pretty good, strong. I didn't think, I don't know, maybe we won't even get 200. We've yet to see. Yeah, I don't know. It's really nice. Genuinely spent all of last year training really hard and getting nowhere. And now that I've found out that you just, I don't know, think about it a bit more, be a bit more methodical with it. Try hard, but not super hard. And manage the fatigue well, and that's how you progress. Not just drilling yourself into the ground every single week. It's mental because like you feel happy when you leave a session and it's gone well, rather than feeling like beat up and done in all the time. And it's like you constantly have like little wins. Like you'll be like, oh, so a 112 should be an RPE 7. You press it and it's easy, and I'm like, that's only 7.5 kilo off my PR. So like, it's pretty cool that that's quite steady now. Deadlift 180 for a 2 was planned. We did 5. Like, oh man, I didn't even think I would get 2. So yeah, it's really working for me as this. Obviously, if 531 and that sort of shit works for you, awesome. It doesn't work for me, and this sort of stuff seems to. Right, last set of these. Pause deadlifts at 125 kilo. Yeah. Okay, nice and steady. So we'll add 2% to that next week, 2% to that the week after. And yeah, hopefully PRs incoming. Let me set up a deadlift. Yeah, so the pause deadlifts, they're relatively quite light, but they're pretty difficult because they're paused. It starts quite light this week, and then I think we had 2 or 3% each week going forward, and it's just a good tool to be able to train the deadlift twice a week, but not as heavy as you would need to actually train it with a traditional deadlift. So it makes it harder without making it heavier. So you can train it twice a week without generating as much fatigue. And that's what I think benefits me the most at this point in my training, is getting touches on the bar several times a week of each exercise. Doing the whole once a week but smashing it approach doesn't really work for me, because by the time, say I squat on a Monday and I were doing my 5-3-1 sets, you're doing 3 warm-up sets, 3 work sets, and then 5 back-off sets. So you're doing like 11 sets, you're knackered, and then you don't do it at all for another 7 days. When it comes around, I'm like, I don't remember how to squat. What do I have to do? So splitting it up, doing it twice a week. So you're squatting like every 3 days, basically. It keeps it fresh in my mind. Like I say, if you can do the 1 day a week approach, just smash and recover, then sweet. But I like doing it more frequently but less intense. And I think practicing these sort of movements is what gets you better at them. And when you're better at them, you can apply your strength more. So I think I've built a lot of strength over the years, but I just haven't been able to apply it to the practice as well as I could have been if I was doing it more frequently but less intense. That's my rationale for why this is working and the other ones aren't. Right, I'll just do a few cheeky warm-ups. Oh, too fat for it. So, seen Dan Hipkiss, the guy who coached Tom Stoltman to 3 World's Strongest Man titles. When he says like the pause deadlift, or when you're doing paused exercises, he doesn't like it pausing on the way up, because theoretically you don't want to be training yourself to pull slowly. From what I understand, the pause deadlift is to train yourself like if you pause at a sticking point and then go, it trains you to lift without using all momentum, I think. But what he says kind of makes sense, because you don't want to train yourself to pull slow. So he pauses on the way down. I think we're still going to pause on the way up, but I just thought that was interesting. It's not really something you hear very often. I bet if you're like strong and you have to do them with 200 kilo or something, they suck. They don't feel too pleasant with 125 kilo. I can't remember what we move up to, maybe 135 or something, 132. That'll feel pleasant. So, because it's a deload week, we've got 3 sets. Not crazy. Next week it goes up to 4. The intensity increases, and then 4 again, but with more weight again the week after. Let's have another 2 rep here. Fun. At least it's only 2 reps. Still got my armbands on. I'm swimming in the kiddie pool. I'm not swimming in the kiddie pool. 35 years old. I can swim. I can swim. Should probably start using collars on the barbell. All the plates are falling off. But I haven't really got time for that, you know what I mean? Right, last set of 2. Nice and steady. See if we can get a good pause on the last one. Yeah. Whew, right, spoto press. We did some with Dan last week, and it inspired me to put them in as a last exercise on a Friday because they were nice. I think we did 95 for 4 as a top set with Dan, but we've got RP 6 today, so maybe we'll just do 80 kilo. What do we got? 3 sets of 4. That was a stupid idea. Oh. Okay, so we're going to start with 80 kilo on these ones. If it feels easy, we'll add some weight, but I think maybe we'll just do 80 for all the sets. See how we feel, eh? Felt quite easy, to be honest. Maybe we'll go 85s. So we don't want this week to be too heavy, but we don't want it to be pointless. So if 85 feels not anything at all, we'll do 90 for the last set. But if it feels all right, we'll do 85 again. Yeah, that's perfect. Spot on. 1 more set of them, and then we're out of here, lads. Sound. 1 more set of 4. This is good actually, because you can sort of pull it into the position and then feel where it's good to get a press, so when you're actually benching you can get the position right, because that's important. Fucking Christ. Yeah. Nice. Right. That's your lot, lads. Thank you for coming. Don't know if these sessions are very interesting, but they're they're going to be what we're doing for the next couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. And the PRs are going to be interesting for me. Maybe it's interesting for you to find out what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. Hopefully that's the case. So like, the thing with training videos is that training's boring, but obviously the results are interesting. But I don't get enough results to only do PR videos. Yeah, one video every 3 months or something. I've added 2 kilos at PR. Yeah. So thank you for bearing with me in these distressing times. But hopefully I can have a good night's sleep tonight. Good night's sleep and some food over the next couple of days. And be back to my usual upbeat and I can't even think of a word. Humorous and optimistic, enthusiastic self. Right, thank you. We'll see you Monday for some squats.